do not turn from yourself, especially when you are noticing something that you have previously not noticed. So something that I have personally noticed in myself is that I will look for distractions the second I start a task. And not only the second that I start a task, but also when I begin to stress about something or think a little bit deeper about my future and where I want to be and my goals. Because I'm going to be straight up and honest, I'm not where I thought I'd be 4 years ago. So I'm here to tell you that you've got to see that it's the little choices that affect you the most. Obviously the big choices do too, but the little choices are like little deadly silent killers. You don't notice how much they've taken until you realize how much you've already lost. It's all about taking action. It's all action. Well, it's not all action, but action plays a very big role. So remember, it's one thing to think it, but it's another to actually do it. By thinking it, you're literally like 40% of the way there, and 60% is the acting upon it. So it's the action. It's really the action. So yeah, by thinking about it, by just thinking about it, where are you going to be in 20 years? But by taking action, where are you going to be in 20 years? Have that thought. That it's obviously normal if you aren't where you expected yourself to be. But don't blame anybody or anything but yourself for the circumstances that you have been placed in, unless you were sick and unless there was something that you genuinely had no control over. Understand that the blame is you, and most of the time it is you. But anyway, when you are starting to notice a problem, or you are starting to understand that this is a reoccurring habit, and when you begin to see this is where I start messing up, you can't then go back to messing up and be like, okay, I know what I have to do, but you don't act upon it. You've got to actually act upon it and make the change, because if you're not making the change, you aren't making any progress. It's one thing to see a problem, and then it's another to actually act upon it. So do not turn away from yourself. Just don't turn away from yourself. Face yourself and face your problems, whatever they may be. You've got to actually face the problem, and you've got to face the issue head on. It'll be so uncomfortable. You will feel this feeling inside of yourself. Like right here is where I feel it. Of this fear, of this feeling, oh, I will never change. Like these doubts just flood into my mind. But you have got to live with them doubts and move past them doubts. And you've got to use anything to back those negative thoughts out of your brain. But they will be there within you regardless. But it's what you choose to do with them negative thoughts. Are you going to let them affect you, and are you going to start chasing your distractions to no longer hear these voices? Or are you going to still go through and act upon what you were going to do, no matter how weird you feel, and no matter how much you hear these doubts, you still go through and do it? It's really at those moments when you are really making the biggest choices, and when you are really choosing, do I want this life or do I want this life? Because you can have the life you want a lot earlier. And I guarantee that my dreams, which within a year you're going to understand what my dreams were. You're going to know, because I decided to act upon my dreams at this point, and I'm sick of myself. So once you start acting upon your dreams is when you will start seeing results. And so do not give up. It's just really something that I've got to say to you. Do not turn away from yourself, and do not go back into those distractions. You see them, but you have to act upon them. You can't keep repeating them. And remember, Albert Einstein said that, this isn't quoted, this is just roughly what he said, that the definition of an idiot is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So, I mean, listening to motivational talks is better than nothing. Listening to how to get disciplined videos is better than nothing. But then videos can't make you do it. It's no matter how many videos you watch, no matter whatever you do, whatever you think, until you act upon it, you won't do it. And the thing is that if you go back into your old habits once, and you're like, oh, and you're still aware of how you can change them, but you don't change them, you're digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole, because you're actually going backwards, thinking that you're not. You place yourself in this trap, which is something that I have also been in for a year. So, even over a year, where you think you are making progress because you are thinking, like, oh, if I just literally just do this one thing, it will change, but you don't do it. You keep getting worse, and then these old beliefs that you had, like, this one little move, like me just washing the dishes right now can change the course of my entire life. A little belief like that will slowly start to fade away, and you will be aware of it, or you will forget it, but you won't believe it, and you're gonna start going backwards and backwards and backwards, like this mountain that I used to talk about in a lot of my videos. You can't stay in one point on the mountain. You're either falling down or you are climbing up. Falling down is easy, climbing up is hard. So you keep going back into these old habits. You don't change. You are aware of what you should do, but you don't act upon it. And by the time that you notice how different you are of a person, it's been a year. And you're like, oh my goodness. That's the realization that I had. And I want you guys to know that this is something that affects a lot of people. And this gets a lot of people out of their dreams. Don't let it get you out. Do not, and I truly mean, do not mess this up for yourself.